New Book Battle. Opening conquers Goddess Yun Yun. It has already reached 100,000 words and can be used for storytelling. The plot content and rhythm are definitely better. The author guarantees not to be a eunuch, please support me. Through the struggle, become the heart fire of Qinglian Earth. Medusa. Let Xiaoqing burn, melt me with your scorching heat. Green scales. Death is like the wind, always accompanying me. Ziyan. Holding the Fangtian Painting Halberd, like a demon god living in the world. Under the guidance of Li Bang, Medusa successfully evolved into a cute pet. Dad Li Ju has become a snake farmer. From then on, the fragrant grass at the ends of the earth has become a passerby keywords of the novel. Do Pa. Starting from the capture of Medusa, Invincible with no pop-ups, Do Pa. Starting from the capture of Medusa, Invincible with no pop-ups, complete download of TXT, Do Pa. Starting from the capture of Medusa, Invincible with no pop-ups, latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Direct cremation through crossing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Direct cremation through crossing night. On a pitch-black night, the silver-gray moonlight shines down, illuminating the earth into a pure white color. Can moonlight illuminate the earth into pure white? Serious moonlight does not have this ability. My head hurts so much. At this moment, Li Bang slowly recalled, vaguely remembering that he was watching a real-life TV drama called Duki Huama at home before. Thunderstorms mixed outside the window, and suddenly a thunderous roar rang out. The once dilapidated black and white TV suddenly snapped out of his ears. Li Bang walked up to the TV as usual, lifted his palm, and prepared to slap it twice. Pop, pop. After 2 slaps, the TV was not working properly, and Li Juji felt like he was being electrocuted all over, feeling numb all over. Before fainting, Li Juji smelled a strong aroma of meat. Now, where are you? Have I traveled through time? Li Bang looked around and only then realized what kind of moonlight it was. The moonlight on Dog Day. Even the solemn moonlight could not illuminate the surrounding ground like daylight. Upon careful observation, Li Stick discovered a pool below his body, which was not water, but a deep blue liquid. Endless cold air rose from the surface of the pool, and Li Stick could feel a slight chill on the deep blue liquid. Immediately, Li Bang looked around and could see that there was originally a garden of grass and trees, surrounded by flowers, plants, and trees. For some reason, at this moment, they clearly became crystal clear ice sculptures. The closer they were to the cold pool, the larger the volume of the ice sculptures. Is this all caused by the cold air of the cold pool? It's impossible. Why can't I feel cold so close? Wait, what's wrong with my hands? My stomach, my feet. Li Ju looked under him and saw a lotus platform carved out of strange crystals. At first glance, there is no body. I am now completely floating in mid-air. What's going on? The light soul has passed through. Without a body, I can't do it. Do I have to find my own body? The plot is not right. Is the difference so obvious? After roast that there was no fruit, Li Cudgel had to look for his body by himself. Li Cudgel floated towards him. As soon as he floated out of the lotus platform, Li Cudgel felt a bit cold. Then Li Cudgel looked down at the pool. I only saw a green circle reflected on the surface of the pond. Good guy, I won't say anything without a body. You're kneading my soul into a ball. I need to find a rounder body to match my interesting soul. Wait a minute. Li Guan fixed his gaze and saw that there was no blue circle in sight. The reflection on the cold pool was a brilliant blue flame, and the raging flame was as tumultuous as Li Guan's mood at the moment. Is this Qinglian Dishin fire? Looking at the reflection of his figure in the cold pool, Li Stick knew that he had crossed to the Duki continent, which was unprecedented. He had successfully transformed from a person into a fire without any limits. Li Stick couldn't withstand the sudden blow and froze. Okay, is time travel still divided into 3, 6, or 9 classes? Everyone else is dressed as adults, and even worse, they are dressed as dragons or spiders. Am I not worthy of having a physical body? Do you want me to dress like a strange fire? Even if you let me dress up as an animal, I won't say anything anymore. Can't you be picky about time travel? At least there's a mother animal when you dress up as an animal. Can there be a mother fire when you dress me like a stick? Obviously, Li Gun, who is not very serious now, is starting to think about major life events in the future. Immediately, Li Stick saw the figure of a beautiful woman in front of him. It wasn't until the woman approached that Li Stick could see clearly who the person was, Empress Medusa. At this moment, Empress Medusa was dressed in a luxurious and expensive purple brocade robe, enveloping her graceful and delicate body. Her voluptuous and fiery figure released a seductive allure, with a pair of narrow, pale purple eyes that flowed in and out, captivating the Li Stick, who was inexplicably attracted under the purple brocade robe. A purple snake tail is revealed, lazily sweeping, releasing wildness and exotic charm. Empress Medusa stood by the pool, her beautiful eyes fixed on the blue flames in the small pool. Under the reflection of the light, the curves of the flames flickered in her pale purple eyes. Li Bang looked at the Empress Medusa standing by the pool, her eyes filled with flames, as if she wanted to burn her delicate body in clothes. Her drool turned into drops of blue flames, which fell into the cold pool below her body. The blue flames did not drip into the cold pool below her body, but were intercepted by an inexplicable barrier in the air, and then returned to the inner fire of Qinglian Earth. Judging from this situation, did Medusa get me? What does Medusa want to do? According to the plot, the purpose of being acquired by Medusa is to burn her. Come on, little one, let me burn you with this hot flame of my body, melt you. Li Guna shouted. Medusa clearly did not have the changes that occurred in the Qinglian Earth heart fire before her, nor did she know that the current Qinglian Earth heart fire is impure. Staring silently at the blue flames for a long time, Queen Medusa suddenly let out a soft sigh, looked up at the sky, and then swayed her snake tail slightly. Her fiery and delicate body slowly stood up. It's time. With a low murmur, a rare hesitation flashed on Queen Medusa's seductive cheeks. In an instant, the hesitation turned into firmness. Under the purple robe, 2 snow-white wrists were revealed, and her delicate hands slowly knotted a few knots in front of her. As the knot in Queen Medusa's hand changed, the crystal lotus suddenly trembled, and the light curtain above it gradually disappeared. After the light curtain disappeared, Li Bang felt that his body had grown much larger. Without any barriers, Li Bang jumped up and down in excitement. With Li Bang's excitement, a blue flame suddenly burst out, and in the blink of an eye, it turned into a raging fire. Under the blazing blue flames, the icy cold spring in the small pond is evaporating at a visible speed, and the flowers and plants that were originally ice crystals around are now being burned into nothingness by the high temperature around the Li Stick. Ignoring the rapidly withering bamboo around her, Empress Medusa bit her red lips lightly with her teeth, and slowly unbuttoned her robe with her jade hand. Immediately, a perfect jade body, resembling a masterpiece of heaven, was exposed naked in the bamboo forest. Wai Rui Jie, yo, come to my embrace quickly, my passion will burn you. Don't shout at me, otherwise it will make you unbearable. Li Bang's restless heart finally ignited the soul of the loser, and he spontaneously cheered, celebrating the arrival of Medusa in his embrace. Li Bang's gaze towards Empress Medusa was filled with love, as if she were a plate seller, finally able to make her own small movies. Looking at the Empress Medusa by the pond, Li Bang didn't look askance, afraid of missing any details. In the lush bamboo forest, the perfect plump and delicate body, like white jade, releases the temptation that makes the population dry and tongue dry. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Family Medusa. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Family Medusa. The slender willow waist seems to be insufficient for a full grip, but between its slight thinness, it exudes a sense of flexibility. The flat and delicate lower abdomen, without any excess fat, exudes an irresistible urge to reach out and swim slightly. Underneath that slender waist lies the wild purple snake tail, which sways slightly and exudes a unique charm. In the small bamboo forest, Li Bang felt his soul sublimated and washed. In my heart, I have a lot of favorable feelings towards Tancheng, the former Empress Medusa. As soon as we met, I was honest with each other. I, Li Bang, deserve it. Li Bang's heart is crazily interacting. Immediately, Li Bang thought of the plot of Breaking Through the Sky, this scene, this action. There is a voyeur here in the original work. At the thought of this moment, Xiaoqing might be sharing with him the candid treatment of the Empress Medusa in front of him, which made Li Bang feel unhappy in his heart. Damn it, the Empress is honest with me. Xiaoqing, you're wearing a fake skin. Why should I share it with you, Li Bang? With this in mind, Li Bang, in order to protect the privacy of Empress Medusa, suddenly wrapped her body in a blue flame. After a moment, Empress Medusa's body was completely enveloped by the blue flame, forming a large fireball of more than 10 meters in a circle. After protecting Medusa's privacy, Li Gun said meaningfully. Medusa, you are honest with me. Now that I have opened my arms to accept you and protect your privacy, we can be considered to have exchanged gifts. At this moment, a sleazy boy is lying 100 meters away from the cold pool, cursing and saying. Sleeping trough, teacher, are you sure Medusa wants to borrow the fire of the abyss to cross the tribulation? How do I feel that it's the fire of the abyss who wants to borrow the fire of the abyss to cross the tribulation? Did you see that this fire of the abyss is so proactive? I'm not quite sure about this either. The reaction of Qinglian Dxinhua is really unusual. Now we can only wait and see. The voice of Yaolao's vicissitudes is heard. Teacher, what if the strange fire is absorbed by Medusa again? Xiaoqing asked unwillingly. If it's absorbed, you'll have to find another fire. With Medusa there, do you want the teacher to die or do you want to die yourself? Air, don't worry, the unusual fire is also a spiritual object of heaven and earth. You don't know the power of the unusual fire, but I do know it. Medusa won't be able to successfully cross the calamity so easily. Upon hearing this, Yaolao Xiao spoke to Xiaoqing with reason and emotion. After hearing Yaolao's words, although Xiaoqing felt unwilling, he would not go to die for nothing and could only continue to hibernate, looking at the huge fire curtain composed of blue flames in front of him. Empress Medusa, feeling the abnormal behavior of the strange fire, did not stop it. For Medusa, no matter what, she had to go through the scorching of the strange fire. Whether she jumped into the sea of fire or actively wrapped herself in the strange fire had little significance. After a moment, the Li stick wrapped around Medusa and regained her beastly nature. The blue flame transformed into countless small strange flames, all of which were small parts of the Li stick. They rushed towards Medusa from all directions, and wherever there were holes around her, the blue flames seemed to penetrate everywhere. Endless blue flames surged towards Medusa, and the scorching temperature made her feel unbearable. Roar, a mournful roar similar to a lion's roar came out, and Xiaoqing heard Medusa's mournful cry and excitedly said. Teacher, it's starting. Let's go over too. Well, now Medusa is surrounded by the heart fire of Qinglian. I wrap you in a strange fire and slowly approach. After making the decision, the master and disciple walked towards the heart fire of Qinglian as if walking on thin ice. At this moment, Li Bang listened to Medusa's mournful roar and his expression gradually fell into madness. He laughed and said. Ha ha ha, scream, scream to your heart's content. Even if you scream your throat out, no one will come to help you. Embrace my endless flames of passion to the fullest. With Li Bang's madness, the temperature of the endless flames around her suddenly rose. Medusa's delicate skin and scales were mercilessly burned with scars and bloodstains by Li Bang. Li Bang entered Medusa's body through various holes, and at this moment, the endless blue flames were like endless Li Bang running wildly inside her body. Pop it! Empress Medusa clearly couldn't bear the crazy Li stick, the crazy Qinglian Earth heart fire, and jumped into the water pool filled with ice spirit cold springs. As soon as Medusa jumped into the cold pool, a layer of white frost immediately spread all over her body, along with a layer of white frost appearing on her meridians. At this time, with the help of the ice spirit cold spring, Medusa was obviously able to withstand the scorching temperature of being a Qinglian Earth heart fire Li stick, and her original state of top-level battle for the Emperor also loosened. Li Bang felt that Medusa had already begun to evolve, and gently looked at his own beauty, saying, "You are my person now, let me help you." Who is here?" At this moment, Medusa heard the voice of the stick and shouted sternly. "Ah, I am. It's me, Xiaoqing." After hearing Medusa's inquiry, Li Gun affectionately said, "Xiaoqing. Are you Qinglian di Xinhua?" That's right. I'm Qinglian di Xinhua. I just entered your body, and you already belong to me." Upon discovering the ability to communicate with Medusa, Li Bang excitedly said, "Impossible, I have checked the Qinglian Earth heart fire. Although it has spiritual consciousness, it is still just an instinctive action. How could it have such a complete personality?" After hearing Medusa's words, Li Bang became unhappy and thought to himself, "I don't even deserve to have a personality anymore. You guys are deceiving people too much." Immediately, Li Bang said coldly, "Spiritual perception is very magical. If you don't believe it, then you don't need to cross the tribulation." Immediately, Medusa felt that the originally scorching blue flames around her were now just like ordinary flames, and in the cold pool, she couldn't feel the warmth of the strange flames at all. Medusa was panicked. At this moment, the crossing of the tribulation was only halfway through, and the fire strike had stopped. It made Medusa feel uneasy and immediately realized that it was a proud and delicate fire. If it provoked the fire again, the fire strike would really be a joke. With a seductive voice, he said, "Okay, I believe you're Xiaoqing now. Don't make any fuss now. I'm crossing the tribulation, you help me successfully first. It would be great if it had happened earlier. We are a family, and you don't have to say I will help you." After hearing that Medusa believed in him, Li Bang said in a familiar tone, "When did we become a family?" Upon hearing this, Medusa asked in confusion, "Just now, you were honest with me. I entered your body, and now there is still me among you. Is it just a family, or does the Empress have another crush? If that's the case, I may not be able to help the Empress evolve." Li Bang said with reason and evidence. Upon hearing this, Medusa was unable to refute and immediately said, "I naturally don't have any crush. If you help me evolve successfully, I will naturally consider you as family." "Okay, it's a deal." "Well, it's a deal." After seeing Li Bang's attitude improve, Medusa immediately said, "Xiaoqing, let's continue to evolve. Wait, if a guest visits, I'll help you solve the problem first." Immediately, Li Bang felt Xiao Yan's body filled with bone and spirit cold fire, and had entered the wall of fire originally built for Queen Medusa in Qinglian's heart fire. He slowly said, "End of this chapter." Chapter 3. Recovery of Stolen Items. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Recovery of Stolen Items. What? Are you saying someone broke into this place? Upon hearing this, Medusa frowned and said slightly, "You first recover from your internal injuries here, I'll go and come." As soon as the words fell, Li Bang's mind had already arrived at the area where Xiao Yan was located. Soon, he saw Xiao Yan's body filled with bone spirit and cold fire, walking very cautiously towards the interior of the Qinglian Earth's heart fire. "Hello Xiao Yan, you dare to break into my body without the permission of this fire. I really thought you had a cheat and nobody was afraid. If the stick doesn't burn you today, it's in vain for fire." After speaking, Li Bang mobilized the scorching power of the Qinglian Earth's core fire inside his body and rushed straight towards Xiaoyan. In an instant, the Qinglian Earth's core fire centered around Xiaoyan, surrounded by countless green flames. Those who didn't want money rushed towards Xiaoyan. In a moment, Xiaoyan felt a surge of blue flames all over his body. Endless blue flames rushed towards him, and the bone spirit cold fire that enveloped him suddenly endured so much blue flames. It lit up and dimmed, and although Xiaoyan was protected by the bone spirit cold fire, he also felt the deadly danger contained in the surrounding blue flames. Teacher, why is this Qinglian Earth heart fire so powerful? Is it really just the 19th ranked abnormal fire? Xiaoyan, puzzled by the herbal medicine, kept asking. He, every strange fire is a spiritual object that has been formed through thousands of years, and every strange fire is a gift from nature. It's not surprising that it has such power. Yao Lao then ignited a strange fire towards Xiaoyan's popularization of science. All right, teacher, I got it. Upon hearing this, Xiaoyan said impatiently. Immediately, he walked towards the depths of the fire in the heart of Qinglian once again. After seeing Xiaoyan pause for a moment, Li Bang walked forward again with a cold smile on his lips. Soon, countless blue flames rushed into Xiaoyan's body and suddenly burst out, which was the unique method of Qinglian Earth heart fire in underground magma. Magma is inherently full of uncertainty, and as the master of underground magma, Qinglian Earth core fire unleashes its explosive properties, which is even more terrifying. Bang! 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 After adding the burst attribute to the flames, Xiaoyan's body erupted with a muffled sound, with strands of blue flames exploding around him. With the continuous burst of blue flames around him, Xiaoyan felt uncomfortable. At this moment, a layer of pale color appeared on Xiaoyan's face. Obviously, the burst attribute of the Qinglian Earth heart fire also made Xiaoyan very uncomfortable, leaving behind hidden wounds in his body. Immediately, thinking of what Yao Lao had just said, Xiaoyan didn't think much either. He just regarded this kind of explosion as a characteristic of Qinglian Dixin fire itself. As Xiaoyan delved deeper, Yao Lao was the first to lose his composure. The old man's voice exclaimed in terror. Xiaoyan, hurry up and leave this place. This Qinglian land has a strange heart. Teacher, what's wrong with this strange fire? Xiaoyan asked with confusion. The abyssal fire originally belonged to the spiritual creatures of heaven and earth. In theory, it is impossible for us to be so careful when approaching the abyssal fire to trigger the explosive attribute of the Qinglian Earth heart fire. Now, it is obvious that the Qinglian Earth heart fire is attacking us with all its might. It is impossible that Medusa has successfully overcome the calamity. The old voice spoke slowly. There was a mix of shock and the pain of forging the body with a strange fire. Even now, Yao Lao was still very afraid. When he tried to tame the bone spirit cold fire, it took him a full week to complete it. Although Qinglian's heart fire and bone spirit cold fire ranked lower, the strange fire was the same as the strange fire. The formation of every spiritual object in heaven and earth takes a long time, and even the lower-ranked exotic fire cannot be underestimated in its power. Thinking that Medusa could subdue the Qinglian Earth heart fire in just over an hour, Yao Lao couldn't let go for a long time. Is there such a big gap between humans and animals? After hearing the old saying about medicine, Xiaoyan's face became even worse. He didn't expect that the strange fire he had worked so hard to find would be caught by Medusa. Helpless, Xiaoyan had to retreat and quickly flee towards the inner fire of Qinglian. I want to leave now. It's too late. I'll see if this fire doesn't blow you up today. Seeing Xiaoyan retreat, Li Bang proudly said. Immediately, the inner fire of Qinglian continued to rush towards Xiaoyan, and countless muffled sounds exploded beside him. Immediately, the blue flame that exploded on Xiaoyan's chest finally made him unable to bear it, spraying out a large mouthful of fresh blood. After wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth with his arm, Xiaoqing fiercely said. I don't believe it anymore, it's just a strange fire. You still want to trap me today? Teacher, I can't do it anymore. Immediately, Xiaoqing said to the old medicine practitioner in his body. I understand, leave it to me. Upon hearing this, Yao Lao sighed and said in a deep voice. At this moment, Li Bang felt the terrifying outbreak of fighting spirit in Xiaoyang's body. In an instant, he was already comparable to the powerful Do Wang. Seeing this, Li Bang's face appeared jealous and said. Well behaved, if this cheat were to be placed in the 21st century, even cryptocurrency players wouldn't be able to catch up, and it would definitely be against those who belong to the planning level. It's really shameless. They can't even beat their own fire and even try to devour me. After Yao Lao took control of Xiaoyang's body, the bone spirit cold fire condensed a pale white fighting spirit and wings behind him. As the wings swung, they were about to leave the range of the Qinglian Earth's inner fire. Suddenly, Yao Lao saw the Queen Medusa waiting leisurely in the sky ahead. Not good. After seeing Medusa blocking the way ahead, Yao Lao's first reaction was to stay away from this notorious woman. Yao Lao quickly turned around and charged towards the inner fire of Qinglian Earth, seeking death. The python swallows the sky. Medusa let out a sharp shout, then showed her hand and squeezed out the seal formula in front of her. Suddenly, a red python energy body appeared and rushed towards Xiaoqing. The red python energy body was extremely realistic, with scales and venomous teeth clearly visible all over her body. With the appearance of the red python, a faint fishy smell could still be smelled in the air. After the appearance of the crimson python, it suddenly rushed towards Xiaoqing. Not good, the flames are devouring the ruler. After Yao Laoba's birth, the black giant ruler emitted a red glow all around his body, and his body boiled like boiling water as he headed straight towards the red python. Bomb. A thunderous explosion sounded, and the terrifying waves generated by the explosion shook Xiaoqing and Medusa back a few steps. At this point, Xiaoyang's body was no longer protected by the bone spirit and cold fire. Li Bang suddenly felt a very familiar aura inside Xiaoyang's body, which was the lotus seat and lotus seed of the Qinglian Earth heart fire. Thinking of this, Li Bang tried to communicate with the lotus seat inside Xiaoyang's body and the lotus seed. Suddenly, the blue lotus platform and lotus seed appeared directly outside Xiaoyang's body. Come back. Upon seeing this scene, Li Bang excitedly shouted. Immediately, the blue lotus terrace and lotus seeds were enveloped by the blue flame and returned straight to the side of the blue lotus earth heart fire. As soon as the lotus seeds returned, the Li stick devoured all the lotus seeds. Suddenly, the originally hot temperature of the blue lotus earth heart fire skyrocketed again, and the lotus terrace was assimilated by the Li stick and integrated into the blue flame. As long as the Li stick needed it, the blue lotus terrace could still transform again. After all, the lotus terrace and the blue lotus earth heart fire were of the same origin. Upon seeing this scene, Xiaoqing immediately spewed out a mouthful of blood again. Obviously, it was the secret wound left by the previous battle with Medusa. Now that he had seen the lotus platform and lotus seeds inexplicably lost, he was furious and couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. A new book is coming, I hope everyone can support me. Like just blooming flowers, without your irrigation, it is impossible for them to grow vigorously. Therefore, readers who love this book and support Li Bang's family, recommend collecting tickets, and the more, the better. If you feel like you're not reading enough new books, you can go and take a look at my other book, 10 consecutive draws at the beginning of the game. I have good suggestions and ideas to share. The author is very humble, really. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Searching for Loli. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Searching for Loli. I lost a lot this time. Xiaoqing said helplessly in his heart. Let's not worry about the lotus terrace and lotus seeds for now. Let's leave this place with the companion method first. After hearing Xiao Yan's words, Yao Lao smiled bitterly and said. Teacher, don't be discouraged, I want to leave and no one can keep me. I'm afraid I won't get this strange fire. Yao Lao said helplessly. Immediately, Xiao Yan ignored the blood stains on the corner of his mouth and rushed straight towards the side of the island. Take advantage of his illness and take his life. After seeing Xiao Yan's condition, Li Bang relayed to Medusa. Pup. At this moment, Medusa also spewed out a mouthful of blood and her face turned pale. When Li Bang saw it, he quickly asked. How are you? It's okay, the confrontation with this person just now only triggered the old burn inside your body. Medusa said gently. Upon hearing this, Li Jutsai realized that beneath Medusa's purple robe, there were scars from her own burning, which were shocking. Red flesh and blood were exposed under the robe, continuously dripping down from it. At this moment, Li Bang felt several fierce auras rushing towards this place in the distance. Obviously, it was because of the fight with Medusa and Xiao Yan just now that the breath of this place leaked out, which was why he was found. You can't stay here any longer. In your current state, once they arrive here, you won't be able to get good treatment from them. Li Stick said in a deep voice. Medusa naturally felt the fierce aura rushing towards this place. Originally, Medusa thought she was a strong member of the snake clan, but as these auras got closer, Medusa knew that it was the human race who took advantage of their own time to cross the tribulation and forcefully came. How could humans know that I crossed the calamity? Medusa looked towards the direction of Xiao Yan's escape, with a chill in her eyes. Obviously, Medusa thought that Xiao Yan had joined forces with everyone and regarded Xiao Yan as the first person to harm her. Immediately, Medusa suppressed her hatred and looked at Qinglian with anger, saying. Xiaoqing, thank you. I'm fine. It's okay, this place is not a place to talk, let's leave here first and make plans. As soon as the words fell, the Li Stick flooded into Medusa's body, driving the wood attribute in the Qinglian Earth's heart fire to warm up Medusa's injuries. Of course, the Li Stick took extra care of some parts after feeling the Qinglian Earth's inner fire warming her injuries inside her body. Medusa glanced in the direction of several strong winds and collected the remaining ice spirit cold spring in the cold pool. Her magnificent red and black fighting spirit wings spread from behind, waving her body towards the interior of the Tagore Desert. Xiaoqing, where are we going now? Medusa subconsciously asked Xiaoqing. As soon as Medusa spoke, she regretted it and thought to herself. What's wrong with me? How can I ask a question to a strange flame? Hehe, you're right when you ask me. Which human race would think we're flying towards the interior of the Tagore Desert? We'll go the opposite way and head to the edge of the Tagore Desert, Desert City. After hearing Medusa's inquiry, Li Bang felt that he was needed and immediately said with reason and evidence. Of course, besides evading the human powerhouses chasing after him, Li Bang still has private messages when going to the Desert City. Since he has arrived in the Tagore Desert, Qingli himself must take it with him. With the 3 flower pupils of the blue snake and the rebellious constitution of the Doshan, even if Li Bang has no good fortune to endure, it can still increase Medusa's strength. Anyway, it cannot be cheaper than Xiao Yan. After hearing Li Bang's words, Medusa flew straight towards the human city of Desert City. At this time, Medusa did not know that after the battle of the Snake Man Temple, her emotional bond with Qinglian's fiery heart would become stronger and stronger. After a full day of flight, Medusa finally saw the human city, Macheng, built on the edge of the desert. Due to its location on the edge of the Tagore Desert, the city is covered in a uniform yellow sand architecture, with an architectural style similar to that of Xinjiang in the 21st century. The stick inside Medusa, upon seeing the earthy yellow human city in front of her, said to Medusa. Go to the city to find a snake girl with small green scales all over her body, which is easy to identify. Why did you find this girl? Upon hearing this, Medusa asked in confusion. This girl belongs to your snake people. As the queen of the snake people, how can you tolerate your own people being lost outside? After feeling the cold gaze of Medusa, Li Bang felt guilty and said to Shanshan. This girl has a blue snake 3-flower pupil constitution. If you accept it now, you will have an additional Dozun or even Doshing level thug in the future. You can decide whether to accept it or not. Xiaoqing, how do you know she has the constitution of blue snake 3-flower eyes? Xiaoqing, after summoning Xiaoqing to no avail, Medusa could only fly above the desert city to search for the girl Xiaoqing had mentioned. In the desert city, 70.8% of the people are native to this place, and naturally know the notorious name of Empress Medusa. When they see Medusa above the desert city, they all flee in a panic, and the entire desert city becomes chaotic. At this moment, Haiba Dong, who was drawing a map within the ancient map, felt the aura of Medusa appearing in the desert city. His originally calm face instantly turned white, indicating how much psychological shadow Medusa had left for Haiba Dong. Haiba Dong hurriedly headed towards the secret room he had prepared in advance. Haiba walked east and cursed. Sleeping trough, Xiao Yan, who has been a dog for a long time, must be him. Damn it, how did he bring the fierce god Medusa to the desert city? Xiao Yan, I have nothing to do with you. At this moment, Xiao Yan, with a dejected expression on his face, was running around the Tagore desert dejected by the loss of the Qinglian Earth's core fire. Due to Hai Budong's scolding in the dry and hot weather, Xiao Yan inexplicably sneezed. Azu, can't it be a cold? Xiao Yan pondered and said. Humph, you can catch a cold even in the desert. It seems that your training is still too light. In the future, your daily training volume will double. The voice of Yaoao's vicissitudes is heard. Teacher, no. The desert echoes with Xiao Yan's silent protest. In the sky above the desert city, Medusa's top-notch fighting spirit of the imperial realm was explored inch by inch. After a moment, she did not find the girl mentioned by Qinglian Xinhua, but instead found an acquaintance. At this moment, in the Chamber of Secrets, Hai Budong also sensed that Medusa had found him. At this moment, Hai Budong's body trembled like an electric shock, and then rushed out of Gutu, and ran towards the human territory like a madman. After seeing this, Medusa smiled slightly at the corners of her mouth, and then ignored Hai Budong who had escaped, continuing to search in the desert city. A moment later, Medusa discovered the little girl mentioned by Li Ju in the crowd of hastily fleeing. At this time, due to her thin and weak body, the scattered crowd inside collided with the ground, and people next to her repeatedly stepped on the fallen little girl. Medusa saw this scene and a hint of anger appeared on her face. Immediately, as the black and red wings waved behind her, she appeared in front of the little girl. Due to Medusa's landing, the crowd who had previously fled for her life scattered and fled. Many of them fainted in fear because they were too close to Medusa. Medusa looked at the beautiful and lovely little girl in front of her and asked, "What's your name?" Green Scales. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Late Systems. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Late Systems. For Medusa, Green Scale was not filled with fear like the humans in the desert city. On the contrary, because Green Scale was a snake-like relationship, she had a natural sense of closeness to Medusa. When she saw the beautiful big sister suddenly descending in front of her, Green Scale timidly said, "Qingli, a beautiful name. I feel the blood in your body, belonging to the snake people. Where are your parents?" After hearing the timid voice of Green Scales, Medusa gently said, "My parents. I don't know who my father is, my mother was forced to death by them." Qingli said later, pointing to the fleeing crowd around. Crystal tears also appeared at the corners of my eyes. "Good child, are you willing to come with me? Become a strong person and avenge your mother with your own hands in the future." "Can I personally avenge my mother?" Qingli lowered her head to look at her thin and weak body, and muttered to herself. Of course, are you willing to come with me? Medusa is the queen of the snake tribe and has always held the position of leader of the snake tribe. Therefore, Medusa is like a natural speaker, her words have strong infectious power, making people unable to resist believing and trusting her, not to mention a teenage girl. After listening to Perfect Tush's words, Qingli's originally timid eyes were filled with firm and determined determination. She lifted her immature head and looked at the beautiful older sister in front of her, saying, "Big sister, I'm willing to go with you. Good child." Upon hearing this, a smile appeared on Medusa's face. As the queen of the serpent race, although she didn't say anything, she still couldn't bear to see her own people being bullied outside. Now that she was injured, having such a lovely little girl with her might be good. Immediately, Medusa picked up her green scales and waved her black and red fighting wings behind her, flying straight into the sky. Looking at the vast desert ahead, Medusa habitually asked the heart fire of Qinglian. "Xiaoqing, where are we going next?" "Not bad, my queen. I knew you couldn't bear to see your people suffer outside." Li Bang felt the green scales in Medusa's arms and couldn't help but praise. "Stop talking nonsense, where am I going to cross the calamity next?" "Next, go to my hometown." After pondering for a moment, Li Gu said. "Underground magma." "Yes, underground magma. You have created intricate channels inside the magma, so you naturally don't have to worry about safety issues. Since humans already know that you have taken away the Qinglian core fire, then no one will go to the underground magma to look for any abnormal fire." Li Bang explained to Medusa his thoughts and why he chose to go to underground magma. "Okay, then go to the underground magma." As soon as she finished speaking, Medusa identified her direction and headed straight towards the nearest underground passage. "Big sister, who are you talking to?" Qingli saw Medusa talking to herself and asked in confusion. "His name is Xiaoqing, you can see him soon." Qingli obediently said. Boom. Above the sky, the black and red figures swiftly passed by, piercing through the wind with a strong aura, as if a thunderbolt had sounded in mid-air. In no time, Medusa had arrived at the nearest underground passage. Without hesitation, she followed the passage and headed towards the depths of the earth. After about half an hour, Medusa and Qingli had already arrived underground in the Tagore Desert, in the scorching world of the Fire Sea. Qingli saw the magnificent scene before her, and a hint of shock appeared on her face. In the huge cave, fiery red magma kept rolling in it. The fiery red magma inside the magma lake rolls, occasionally creating a bubble. With a hiss sound, it shatters and emits a white, highly toxic smoke that makes people shudder. Medusa noticed the change in the scales in her arms and asked in a deep voice. "Can you withstand the heat of this place?" "No problem." After hearing Medusa's words, the small face with bright red scales said firmly. Upon hearing this, a hint of surprise appeared on Medusa's face. According to Medusa's estimation, even a strong fighter could not adapt to the heat and fire of this place. Unexpectedly, the thin and weak little girl in front of her could. Soon, Medusa saw the green scales on her body and pondered. The scales on her body are strange and curious. Perhaps it is because of these scales that Qingli can withstand the harsh environment here. "Qingli, then you can cultivate Duqi here. Cultivating Duqi here will bring you many benefits. I need to deal with some things, and once we finish it, we will come here immediately." Medusa gently said to the green scales in front of her. "Okay, big sister, go ahead and get busy with your affairs, don't worry about me. I'm not a big sister, my name is Medusa." Upon hearing this, Medusa burst out laughing. Qingli called her elder sister all the way, and soon, Medusa introduced herself to Qingli. After returning to his hometown, Li Bang heard a mechanical sound in his mind. Ding! After system testing, congratulations to the host for returning to their place of birth, triggering the system. Ding! Congratulations to the host for partially unlocking the system clock in function. Ding. The system has detected that the host is located in the underground magma of the Tagore Desert. May I ask if the host has checked in? Crouching slot, crouching slot, crouching slot. System, a heavenly killing system, cross the stick over and make me a crematorius. Is cremation expensive? Do you want the stick to come over and cremate directly? After hearing the sound of the system, Li Guzai couldn't help but get up and cross over to become a strange fire, which would have been swallowed up at the beginning. If it wasn't for Li Guji, it would have been captured by Xiaoyan. Where is the nest ready to be swallowed up? Ding. Detects the host's hostility towards the system, and the check.in location will disappear in 3 seconds. The host likes to hit or not, and the system is not serving. Dad, go ahead, I'll clock in. After hearing the system's words, Li Stick said without any lower limit. Ding. Congratulations to the host for checking in at their birthplace and obtaining the seeds of the ancient chaos Qinglian. The host can plant the seeds of the ancient chaos Qinglian and wait until the seeds grow to obtain the chaos Qinglian glass body. Wow, the chaos blue lotus glass body has a body now. Do you really have to come early or late? Your system is very bad. Li Bang shouted excitedly, and then asked the system if he wanted to plant and grow. System, where should this ancient chaotic Qinglian seed be planted and how should it grow? Ding. The system rewards are arranged according to the existing conditions of the host, and can be planted on the lotus platform of the Qinglian Earth Heart Fire. If you need the growth of ancient chaotic Qinglian seeds, the host needs to search for different types of fire to absorb nutrients from the seeds. 3 types of fire can make ancient chaotic Qinglian reach small success, 6 types of fire can make ancient chaotic Qinglian reach large success, and 9 types of fire can make ancient chaotic Qinglian reach complete success. After hearing the system's response, the stick was dumbfounded. 3 types of abnormal fires were successful, 6 types of abnormal fires were successful, and 9 types of abnormal fires were successful. Do you think the street is full of strange flames? Where are you asking me to find so many strange flames? Ding. Warm reminder, the host can shape the Chaos Qinglian glass body by making the ancient Chaos Qinglian reach a small size. The host's Chaos Qinglian glass body will also gradually improve with the evolution of the ancient Chaos Qinglian. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Pregnant Mother Medusa. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Pregnant Mother Medusa. Good guy, it's difficult to have 3 different types of fire. Can ordinary flames work? Magma, even magma, is hot enough. Li Gu felt powerless and roast. Ding. Host, except for the exotic fire, any other type of fire will make the ancient Chaos Qinglian seeds feel cold and freeze. Being burned by fire, still so cold and frozen, Qinglian, you are so excellent. Upon hearing this, Li Bang had some chaotic thoughts in his mind, and in an instant, Hui Fei disappeared. Now he could only honestly become a tool man to search for a strange fire. It would be a great loss to use some magma to water the seeds and freeze them to death. Xiaoqing, Xiaoqing. Medusa anxiously shouted for the inner fire of the Qinglian Earth within her body. Ah, what's wrong? Upon hearing Medusa's shout, Li Bang quickly replied. Xiaoqing, what are you doing? It took you so long to talk. That, I was just helping you warm up your body. Upon hearing this, Li Bang learned that he had cut off contact with Medusa while communicating with the system, which caused Medusa to be unable to find him. Similarly, when communicating with the system, he could not hear Medusa's voice. Oh, don't run around in my body. We've already reached the magma underground, so we should be able to continue crossing the tribulation now. Upon hearing the inner fire of Qinglian constantly raging within her body, Medusa blushed slightly and felt strange. Soon, she remembered the forced termination of the crossing and said. Well, that's it. Blow out a secret room underground. When you cross the tribulation, try not to let Qingli see it, it's not suitable for children. After listening, Li Bang pondered for a moment and said. As soon as Li Bang's voice fell, a hint of disdain appeared in Medusa's eyes. Thinking that Qinglian's heart fire was now in her body, she gave up and looked at Qingli beside her, saying gently. Qingli, you should cultivate your fighting spirit here first, and I also need to handle my own affairs. Well, Sister Medusa, go ahead and I'll wait for you. A determined expression appeared on Qingli's face, and she said seriously. Upon hearing this, Medusa turned around and walked into the underground passage. As soon as she entered the passage, she showed her true form. Suddenly, a huge purple python, about 7 or 8 zhang long, opened a snake hole in the underground passage towards the yellow sand. Bang! Bang! In the underground passage, there was a muffled sound. The green scales sitting on the stone platform above the underground magma, their eyes turned to the side of the underground passage, and their faces showed a suspicious expression. Then, they entered the cultivation state again. Xiaoqing, is this secret room enough? In the pitch-black chamber, there was a green light shining at this moment, which was clearly the light of Medusa's lotus heart fire inside her body. Medusa looked around at the empty chamber and said with satisfaction. That's enough. Li Bang was completely blinded, but he saw with his own eyes how Medusa created the Chamber of Secrets. The huge snake's body twisted 3 or 2 times, and the Chamber of Secrets became what kind of tunneling technique has Lan Xiang Academy left behind for hundreds of streets. Looking at the empty secret rooms around him, upon hearing Medusa's inquiry, Li Bang's heart beat with excitement. It was also his first time doing such a thing, and as for whether the environment in the secret room was sufficient, who knows anyway, sleeping with 180 people is not a problem, it's a safe underground luxury estate. Oh, then I'll dig again. Upon hearing this, Medusa revealed her prototype again and excitedly dug around the earthen wall. Li Bang could see that Medusa likes to dig holes, and this hobby is surprisingly consistent with her own. After a moment, Medusa looked at her masterpiece with a satisfied expression. Medusa's snake tail wrapped around the ground and said. Xiaoqing, let's get started. Is that it? It's starting now. You're on the ground, not making a bed. Isn't it a bit too shabby? Li Bang drifted in front of Medusa and said thoughtfully. I came out in a hurry, and now there are only a few ice spirit cold springs left in my ring, with no suitable utensils. After Medusa looked around, Shanshan said. Use my lotus platform. As soon as the words fell, a green lotus platform appeared in the heart of the Qinglian Earth fire. In the center of the lotus platform, there was a pit the size of a soybean. This should be the location where ancient chaos Qinglian seeds were planted. After seeing the pit, Li Jiurua pondered and said. Immediately, the blue lotus platform drifted towards Medusa. In front of Medusa, a huge lotus platform that was 3 zhang in size suddenly rose. At the bottom of the lotus platform, strands of blue flames rose up, extremely beautiful. The lotus platform and the inner fire of the green lotus were originally from the same root, and as long as the Li stick was willing, the lotus platform could change according to their hearts. Xiaoqing, you're really thoughtful. Medusa couldn't help but admire the magnificent and large lotus platform in front of her. Immediately, Medusa climbed towards the green lotus platform, took out the remaining ice spirit cold spring from the ring, and raised her hand to prepare to pour it onto the green lotus platform. What are you doing? Seeing this scene, Li Bang quickly stopped Medusa's movements and asked. Pour these on the lotus platform to resist the scorching heat of the strange fire. Medusa was like a silly and sweet person at the moment, speaking. Be good, Li Bang now thinks that Medusa has been burned by himself, resisting me. You can't bear to tell me, I'm not an outsider. This lotus platform is all supported by my own green fire. Pour the ice spirit cold spring onto the lotus platform. If you freeze the ancient chaotic green lotus seeds to death, who should I talk to reason remembering what the system said, ordinary flames and magma can freeze ancient chaotic green lotus seeds to death. If these icy spiritual cold springs fall on the green lotus platform, then even if I have your family, what is the use? Will we cremate with you? Immediately, Li Stick began to reason with Medusa again. I think there isn't much left of these ice spirit cold springs. If you waste them on the lotus platform, why don't you drink them? If you don't waste them, the effect may be better. Really? But there are still quite a few. Upon hearing this, Medusa hesitated and said. Really, when did I deceive you? Drink it. Li Bang sincerely said. Upon hearing this, Medusa stopped hesitating and immediately put the ring to her mouth, driving her fighting spirit. The ring continuously flowed out of the ice spirit cold spring along Medusa's red lips and into her abdomen. As soon as the ice spirit cold spring entered Medusa's red lips, Li Bang saw a layer of frost floating on her body. As more and more ice spirit cold springs entered Medusa's abdomen, the temperature of the entire room instantly dropped to freezing point. In the entire secret room, Medusa lay lazily on the large green lotus platform. At this moment, the beautiful snake was covered in ice and frost all over her body. Medusa's lower abdomen bulged with a small bump, indicating that Li Bang did not understand what Medusa meant by saying there was still a lot left. You have a lot of this, really a lot. Li Gu sincerely said. After a while, Medusa had already drunk all the icy cold spring. At this moment, her lower abdomen was bulging like a pregnant mother about to give birth. After confirming that not a single drop of Medusa was left to be consumed by Li Bang, there was no ice spirit cold spring dripping onto the lotus platform. Immediately, the scorching temperature in his body erupted and he went straight around Medusa. Suddenly, the beautiful snake on the green lotus platform was surrounded by the raging green fire. Medusa once again felt the unbearable burning sensation of the strange fire-forging body. Fortunately, the ice spirit cold spring she had just consumed resisted most of the power of the Qinglian heart fire. Although Medusa felt uncomfortable at this moment, it was not as painful as the last time. In the pitch-black secret room, a beautiful woman is burning in the blue sea of fire. Li Stick can feel the tempting breath emanating from the room, and the beautiful scene is fully visible. Looking horizontally, there are peaks on the side of the mountain, varying in distance and height. I don't know the true face of Mount Lu, only because I am in this mountain. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Successful Evolution, Seeking Collections, Seeking Recommendations. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Successful Evolution, Seeking Collections, Seeking Recommendations. In the pitch-black chamber, the blue flames were blazing brightly, and time passed minute by second. With the beginning of the Medusa crossing, the energy fluctuations of heaven and earth around the huge lotus platform suddenly became intense. After a moment, the energy fluctuations in heaven and earth became increasingly intense, and in the end, a huge energy vortex was faintly formed around the green lotus platform. The purple light continued to rise and fall, and after a moment, a mournful roar that resembled the roar of a lion or a tiger roared out loud from the purple light. Shortly after this roar, the dazzling purple light suddenly surged. Seeing Medusa's fiery burning body exuding an aura that even managed to climb, Li Gu looked at the purple giant snake on the lotus platform, which was as thick as a water tank, and remembered the description of the snake race in the original work. The snake race is different from humans. Shortly after their birth, they will be infused with the soul of a snake-shaped warcraft using a secret technique. As they age and grow in strength, these snake-shaped warcraft, which serve as companion souls, will gradually merge with them. Finally, they will merge with each other without distinguishing themselves. After encountering strong enemies, they will be able to summon a similar entity, and their strength will skyrocket. As expected, Medusa, who showed the shape of a purple python, was much stronger in both aura and strength, which is also the reason why Medusa can evolve under the scorching fire. As she watched Medusa gradually adapt to the temperature of the strange fire, she knew that if she kept her hands on it, Medusa's evolution would surely fail. Soon, Li Ju said in a deep voice. I'm going to take it seriously, you can do it yourself. Come on. Medusa heard Qinglian's fiery words and firmly said. For this evolution, Medusa has put on too much clothing. She has been burdened with the burden of the entire snake race since birth. The survival of the tribe and the slaughter of humans are all on this woman's shoulders. Now she has no way out, and if she doesn't succeed, she will become benevolent. After feeling the resolute belief in Medusa's body, Li Bang no longer retained it. The surging blue flame, the temperature skyrocketed again, and it even directly increased by more than twice. As the temperature of Qinglian's heart fire rose again, the mournful scream of Queen Medusa in the secret room suddenly made a tingling sound. With the fierce screams of Medusa, on the huge blue lotus platform, a huge purple snake was frantically rolling its body. Under the perception of Xiaoli's stick, it could be clearly seen that the scales on the body of the purple snake began to rapidly twist under the burning of the strange fire, and the last one born was burnt black by the strange fire, powerless and falling from the body of the purple snake. After the snake's scales fell off, crimson blood gushed out. However, in the moment these blood appeared, they were burned into nothingness by the terrifying temperature of the strange fire, resulting in dazzling red marks on the body of the purple snake. Li Bang noticed that the blood from the snake's tail was not burned into nothingness by the Qinglian Earth's core fire, but flowed into the middle hole along the lotus platform. Seeing this scene, if Li Bang had a face, he would definitely give himself a few mouths. I deserve it, I deserve it. Li Gu really regretted taking out the lotus platform at this moment, but blood had already seeped in. He could only pray that the blood would not freeze the ancient chaotic green lotus seeds to death. Ji. At this moment, Li Bang could clearly hear the creaking sound coming from the strange fire. Due to the rapid flow of blood, the huge body of the purple snake was also shrinking at a visible speed to the naked eye. Within the heart fire of Qinglian, Medusa screamed in agony for almost half an hour before gradually becoming weak. At this moment, perhaps because its strength had been exhausted, the huge body of the purple snake had almost stopped rolling. Its body, which was originally covered in beautiful purple scales, was now a scorched black. Its body, which was more than 10 zhang long, was burned to only 2 or 3 zhang long. It is hard to imagine how many bones and blood were burned in this body by a strange fire. Li Bang looked at Medusa, who had turned black on the lotus platform. At this moment, he could only control the inner fire of the Qinglian Earth to continue burning. He could feel a faint breath emanating from beneath the charred body of the snake. After a while, the energy of heaven and earth around the lotus terrace suddenly erupted. At this moment, endless black clouds enveloped the surface of the Tagore Desert, accompanied by a sky full of purple clouds. The energy between heaven and earth poured down towards the ground. In the western part of the Tagore Desert, at the Snake Man Temple, the leader of the Snake Man tribe is currently chasing a group of people from the ancient river with the other 7 leaders. After Medusa fled the Snake Man Temple, the actions of the ancient river people also failed, and they do not want to engage in a fearless battle with the Snake Man. At this moment, the human king warriors running through the Tagore Desert, as well as the leaders of the Snake tribe, have all noticed the changes happening in the sky. Ihua, what's going on with this anomaly? At this moment, He could once again feel the faint energy of the Qinglian Earth's core fire. He looked at Yun, who was standing in front of him, and asked in a deep voice. The place where the anomaly spreads should be where Medusa evolved. Let's go and take a look. Upon hearing this, He and Fengli changed their direction and followed Yun towards Medusa in a hurry. Not good, stop them quickly, we can't let them destroy the Queen's crossing. The leader of the Snake clan, sensing the Queen's aura ahead at this moment, shouted sternly. Suddenly, the 8 leaders of the Snake clan erupted in internal fighting, and a group of crazy Xiao Yun and others attacked. Feeling the interception of the Snake clan leader behind them, Yun Xiao frowned and said. At this moment, Medusa is crossing the tribulation. You go fetch the strange fire, and I will stop them. Thank you, Master. Regardless of whether you have received the special fire or not, upon returning to the sect, Gu He will prepare a generous gift to repay Master Yun. Yun looked at the 8 snake-fighting king leaders chasing after her, and her blue long sword was pulled out by Yun Xiao's hand, shouting sternly. Wind extreme. Meteor kill. Somewhere in the Tagore desert, a black-clothed boy trembled slightly behind him. A pair of painted black eagle wings, about half a meter long, suddenly mysteriously ejected from his back and rushed straight towards the vision, murmuring. Qinglian Earth heart fire, whether absorbed by Medusa or not, I want to go and see what happens. Boom. At this moment, amidst the pitch-black clouds above Medusa, there was suddenly a roaring sound of thunder, and silver lightning darted through it like silver snakes. The anomalies in the sky come and go faster, and before the thunderous roar completely dissipates, the dark clouds above the sky begin to rapidly dissipate. In an instant, the scorching sun once again enveloped the desert. In the underground secret chamber, on the vast lotus platform at this moment, a strong breath of life within the scorched black snake body quietly undergoes transformation under the warmth of the Qinglian Earth's heart fire. Suddenly, Li Bang noticed that the body of the stiff and soft burnt black giant snake lying on the ground, with its burnt black skin slowly falling off, the speed of detachment gradually increased, and in the end, Li Bang seemed to be able to vaguely see something about to break through inside the giant snake corpse. Success! Li Bang exclaimed in amazement. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Reasonably, unexpectedly, seeking collection, seeking rewards. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Reasonably, unexpectedly, seeking collection, seeking rewards. Bang. The scorched black snake body on the lotus platform suddenly let out a loud explosion, and pitch-black scales shot everywhere. A section of the body instantly turned into powder. At the moment when the corpse of the giant snake turned into powder, a vast and terrifying aura suddenly burst out, rapidly enveloping the entire underground space at a terrifying speed, spreading towards the Tagore desert. After a moment, the ancient river was galloping at full speed, and with it, he felt the explosion of this vast aura. His face suddenly changed and he said. Ladies and gentlemen, Medusa has already evolved. In the past, we could only die for nothing. Let's return to Yunlan sect. After Gu He finished speaking, he felt the figure of Yun rushing towards him not far behind. Obviously, Yun also felt the vastness of the atmosphere and was worried that Gu He and his companions were catching up. After Yun and Gu He met, they quickly headed towards the direction of the Gamma Empire. Deep underground. Li Bang felt the terrifying aura and his face instantly showed a surprised expression, murmuring. The more amazing Medusa's strength is, the more convenient it is to obtain a special fire. Medusa, you can directly fight Saint. Immediately, this aura erupted in just about 10 seconds and quickly retreated into the green lotus platform like a tide. The annihilation of the breath also made Li Bang feel a bit shocked. At this moment, Li Bang stared fixedly at the area not far away where some black dust had fallen due to the explosion of the snake body. Black dust gradually fell down, and in an instant, a colorful light and shadow shot out from the mist. The speed of the light and shadow was almost as fast as penetrating obstacles in space, catching people off guard. What the hell is that? It startles the stick. Li Bang was taken aback by the colorful light and shadow in front of him, and immediately burst into cursing. Suddenly, the sharp wind-breaking sound carried by the colorful light and shadow rang in my ears. Li Bang couldn't get used to it either. The core fire of Qinglian immediately enveloped the entire secret room without distinction, and boiling flames burned in the room. Suddenly, the entire secret room was like a large furnace, occupied by blue flames. A moment later, Li Bang found a colorful little snake in the corner of the secret room. The colorful little snake looked around with strange flames, and there was no expression of fear in its eyes. Instead, it was innocent and cute. Upon seeing the colorful snake in front of him, Li Bang immediately felt like a deflated balloon. The blue flames in the secret room were extinguished, and Li Bang, who had turned into the heart fire of Qinglian, muttered dejectedly to himself. Empress, you are truly outstanding. If you say you have successfully crossed the tribulation, then you will succeed. Others have successfully crossed the tribulation, but their realm has skyrocketed and their blood pressure has exploded. You are so unlucky that you have regressed to your infancy. Not to mention that your realm has skyrocketed and you have become a saint on the spot, but at least you cannot retreat. Your realm is not high, come on. Now I still have to take care of you. If I had known earlier, I would have deceived you to help me find the abnormal fire and then let you cross the tribulation. You, the abnormal fire, why should I go find and rob you? After complaining, Li Gu looked at the colorful snakes in front of him. At the moment, the colorful snakes were listening to Li Gu's complaining with relish, and their eyes were immersed in the same way as the audience who listened to crosstalk in a certain community. From time to time, they called twice, Look at playing the monkey. If you're not angry, then I'm not angry. If you're angry, who's going to be happy? Immediately, Li Bang completely cut off his desire to collect Medusa's wool and fixed his gaze on the colorful little snake in front of him. In front of me was a small snake that was only about 2 centimeters long and slender. Its body was covered with small colorful scales, and its pale purple pupils gave it a faint sense of strangeness. A strange and fresh fragrance enveloped its body. Although it was only a snake now, it exuded an elegant and noble aura. Although the appearance of the little snake is not related to its ferocity, it is simply too beautiful. Li Guan was a loser in his past life, and when he saw the little snake in front of him, he couldn't help but like it. If it were kept as a pet in modern times, which cats, dogs, turtle kings and so on, stand aside, understand. The colorful little snake is covered in all its body, without many sharp attacking parts. However, Li Stick can vaguely sense that within this small body, there is a terrifying power that even a powerful Dohuang cannot underestimate. Immediately, Li Bang hesitated and said, "Just this little fool, you probably don't know how to use it even if you have power." "Little fool, Medusa, just call you little silly, Xiao." Li Gu muttered to himself. After a few words, he named the little snake in front of him. The colorful little snake swayed its small tail slightly, staring at the blue flames in front of it with its large, pale purple eyes. It tentatively leaned forward a little, as if afraid of the high temperature inside the Qinglian Earth's core fire. Its body involuntarily shrank back, curling up slightly. Its pale purple eyes were actually looking at the Qinglian Earth's core fire with some pitiful and delicate expressions. Li Bang looked at the harmless little fool in front of him and murmured, "Ah, it seems that this wet dad must be taken care of. If it weren't for the fact that you have evolved into a colorful sky-swallowing python with some potential, I would have left you alone long ago. You must remember my goodness," Li Gu said meaningfully. The little snake in front of him seemed to understand Li Bang's words, and its tail swung happily. Immediately, Li Bang retracted the green lotus platform and reduced it to 3 inches in size. Little Fool slowly swam towards the green lotus platform, suspended in mid-air. After walking upstream on the green lotus platform, the little fool climbed towards the pea pit in the center of the lotus platform, pretending to bite. Startled, Li Bang quickly sealed the pit with blue flames and was afraid to say, "Ancestor, you can't eat this. If you eat it, I'll eat you." Feeling the blue flames at the pea pit, Xiaoqing lifted his head and made a few soft hisses towards the inner fire of Qinglian. The soft tone was as if playing coquettish. "Don't do this, it's not working." Upon hearing this, Li Bang ignored the coquettish little fool. The heart fire of Qinglian enveloped the green lotus platform and the little fool, drifting straight towards the underground magma. Before long, Li Bang flew out of the underground passage and came to the top of the underground magma. As soon as the Qinglian Earth heart fire appeared, Qingli woke up from her cultivation state. Qingli was shocked and looked at the blue flames floating in the air ahead. She could vaguely see that there was a delicate green lotus platform inside the blue flames. On the lotus platform, there was an extremely cute seven-colored snake lying lazily. As soon as she saw the lazy posture and cute appearance of the snake, Qingli's face showed an uncontrollable love. Later, Li Bang saw that three extremely small green flowers appeared strangely in Qingli's eyes: sleeping trough, blue snake's three flower pupils, feed, can't, this is not for you to control. Seeing the changes in Qingli's eyes, Li Bang burst out and cursed loudly. What's going on? I finally hooked up with Medusa, and now it's like this. To be honest, Li Bang still values the potential of the rainbow python. After all, he can compete with the top 3 Warcraft beasts in Duki continent and has the potential of a 9-star fighting saint. This little girl cannot be buried like this. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Young Master Xiao Yan is looking for you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Young Master Xiao Yan is looking for you. After realizing that his shouting was unresponsive, Li Ju finally realized that it was only after burning Medusa that Medusa could hear him speaking. Currently, Qingli couldn't hear his voice. Immediately, Li Stick couldn't care whether the green scales could withstand the high temperature of the heart fire in the Qinglian land. The green flames shrouded in the green scales, and there was no other way. Although the little fool was transformed by Medusa, there was also a terrifying aura in the 7-colored snake's body that Li Stick was afraid of. However, the 3 flower pupils of the blue snake in the green scales were also mysterious, and Li Stick dared not make such a bet. If you don't stop her, the little fool will be gone. Suddenly, a burst of blue flames enveloped the green scales. Li Bang deliberately controlled the temperature inside his body, making it similar to an ordinary flame. Immediately, the sudden impact of the blue flames turned the green shirt around the scales into flying ash. After the blue flames came into contact with the fine scales around the scales, the fine blue around the scales emitted a faint blue glow, covering the scales and protecting them from being burned by the blue flames. Despite this, Qingli also regained consciousness in the scorching temperature of the blue flames. Soon, the green flowers in Qingli's eyes dissipated, and Qingli felt the blue flames enveloping her body, emitting a scream of terror. Ah! Upon seeing this, Li Bang quickly withdrew the blue flame and transformed into a blue lotus shape in front of Qingli. He floated in front of Qingli and carefully examined the naked Qingli in front of him. Upon seeing this, Qingli now covered her body with both hands and scanned the strange flames floating in the air in front of her, murmuring to herself. Where did the flame come from? It burned me just now. As she approached this point, Qingli cautiously scanned the surroundings. After a moment, in this vast underground magma world, there was no other person besides herself. Immediately, Qingli still summoned the 2-headed fire spirit snake from the underground magma with unease. In no time, the 2-headed fire spirit snake rushed out of the magma and looked respectfully at Qingli. Then the 2-headed fire spirit snake noticed the 2-headed fire spirit snake fluttering on the side of Qingli's body, with a look of fear in its eyes. The Qinglian Earth heart fire was originally nurtured by underground magma. Within the underground magma, the Qinglian Earth heart fire is the king. Recently, Empress Medusa came here to take away the Qinglian Earth heart fire. The 2-headed fire spirit snake had just been able to live comfortably for a few days. Unexpectedly, being summoned by the green scale today, they saw the Qinglian Earth heart fire again. Immediately, the 2-headed fire spirit snake noticed that there was a colorful little snake inside the Qinglian Earth's core fire, which could survive and be so carefree. The feeling of the two-headed fire spirit snake's head sweating was like this, and he thought to himself. What's going on lately? How can I always meet characters who are coaxed by Nyobai? First, Medusa. Later, the young people who followed the little master also had an unknown flame. Now, the little master is surrounded by the Qinglian Earth Heart Fire, and the colorful snake inside the Qinglian Earth Heart Fire is not a simple character at first glance. Qingli noticed the abnormality of the double-headed fire spirit snake and asked through the three-colored pupils of the blue snake what was going on. Later, it was learned from the mouth of the double-headed fire spirit snake that this was the strange fire, Qinglian Earth Heart Fire, that young Master Xiaoqing had been searching for a few days ago. He was surprised to see the blue flames floating ahead. Up here, Qingli and young Master Xiaoqing came to search for this fire. However, at that time, the double-headed fire spirit snake had already conveyed the Qinglian Earth Heart Fire to Sister Medusa, who had taken it away. Immediately, Qingli thought to herself. Sister Medusa said that handling some things here is probably related to the Qinglian Heart Fire. So, it's not surprising that Qinglian Dixin Fire appears here, but what about Sister Medusa? Subsequently, Qinglian searched around for Medusa's figure. What are you looking for, little girl? Li Bang murmured to himself when he saw Qingli's movements. Who's talking? Qingli looked behind her in confusion, and besides the Qinglian Earth's inner fire, there was no figure behind her. Li Bang's reaction when he saw Qingli was until Qingli could hear him speak. Immediately, Li Gu couldn't help but complain in his heart. What kind of ability is it to break through? I have a strange fire, can I only communicate after burning people? Later, Li Bang couldn't help but think about his special abilities and gently said. Qingli, don't look for me anymore. It's me. The heart fire of Qinglian once again drifted in front of Qinglian and said. At this moment, the colorful little snake inside the Qinglian Earth's core fire is staring straight at the green scales with Kazlan's big eyes. Upon hearing Qinglian Dixinhuo speak, Qingli couldn't help but take a step back and looked at Qinglian Dixinhuo in horror, asking. How can you speak? Upon hearing this, Li Bang became unhappy and thought to himself. I am at least the protagonist of time travel, why can't I speak? Li Gu said coldly. I am Ihua, do you understand? It's a mutated, super powerful fire. Is it strange that I can speak? Strange. Immediately, Qingli quickly denied. It's not strange. It's not strange to hear you say that. Upon seeing this, Li Bang did not argue with Qingli and asked. What were you looking for just now? Upon hearing this, Qingli finally remembered that there was no sign of Sister Medusa around, so she pointed to Qinglian's inner fire and asked. Since you, Ihua, are you? I have a name. Just heard Qingli talk about abnormal fire, Li Bang thought Qingli was looking for him. However, Qingli's mouth didn't stop. Soon, Li Bang realized that Qingli was calling himself abnormal fire. So he proudly interrupted Qingli's words and said. Upon hearing Qinglian Di Xinhua's words, Qingli remembered that the person speaking to Sister Medusa in the desert city sky was Qinglian Di Xinhua. Soon, Qingli learned from Medusa's tone and said. Xiaoqing. Qinggu knows, call him Qinggu. Upon hearing this, the inner fire of Qinglian almost went berserk. Xiaoqing is the exclusive title of my Sasha, and just because you are a little girl, you still want to call me Xiaoqing. Soon, Li Stick emphasized. Oh, Brother Qing. Have you seen Sister Medusa? Qingli said with a cautious expression. After seeing that Qinglian's heart was not getting angry, he took a long breath and finally let go of his anxiety. After hearing that Qingli was looking for Medusa, Li Bang said. Have you seen the colorful little snake inside my body? I see it. Upon hearing this, Qingli said in confusion. Does it look good? It looks good. At this moment, Qingli was confused by the fire in the heart of Qinglian. She thought to herself, asking Sister Medusa, how did she ask about her colorful little snake? It's your sister Medusa. Li Bang said softly. What, is it Sister Medusa? Upon hearing this, Qingli looked at the colorful small snake in the heart of Qinglian Earth with confusion. She carefully examined it and after a moment, Qingli confirmed again. Is it really Sister Medusa? Yes. Li Ju said with great certainty. How could Sister Medusa become like this? Qingli recalled Medusa, who was charming, indifferent, but also very friendly to herself, and asked. Well, things are a bit complicated now, and you'll find out in the future. Li Gu said vaguely. Jokes, how could I waste my breath explaining to you? It's useless, but I won't do it. Oh, Qingli seemed to remember something again and said seriously. Brother Qing, then, young Master Xiaoyan is looking for you. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Tactical Counterattack. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Tactical Counterattack. Upon hearing Qingli's words, Li Bang was also startled. Xiaoyan. Young Master. Damn it, how did I forget? Qingli has already come into contact with Xiaoyun. From Qingli's current title, Li Stick learned that Qingli has a good impression of Xiaoyan. Otherwise, how could she call Xiaoyan a young master? Immediately, Li Stick thought to himself. It's not good now. Medusa has become a pet, and Qingli still knows Xiaoyan. If Qingli tells Xiaoyan about herself and Medusa, wouldn't she be killed by the group if she bought one get one free? No, I need to find a way to turn green scales around. After a moment, Li Bang had a plan in his heart and said with grievances. What, that villain Xiaoyan still hasn't let us go. Xiaoyan, how could he be a villain? Qingli asked in confusion. In Qingli's impression, Xiaoyanzi was the first person who didn't despise him and treated him well. That's why Qingli was willing to come together for Xiaoyan. The underground magma, Qingli was still sad for many days because he didn't help Xiaoyanzi get the Qinglian Earth heart fire. Seeing that Qingli was so loyal to Xiaoyan, Li Bang couldn't help but admire him. Did Xiaoyan learn the ability to win people's hearts from Uncle Lu? Subsequently, Li Gu continued to cry and say. Qingli, don't be deceived by Xiaoyan's demon like this. I was originally willing to follow Queen Medusa, but I never thought that Xiaoyan would collude with the powerful warriors of the Gamma Empire in order to obtain me. During Medusa's crossing of the Calamity, he led the powerful humans to rush into the Snake Clan tribe, killing countless people along the way, resulting in more than half of the Snake Clan's people being killed or injured. The place where Xiaoyan passed was like a human purgatory, with countless snake people's limbs and severed tails scattered densely on the yellow sand. The Snake Clan's blood flowed into a river, and no grass grew. How could this be? Why did Xiaoyan kill an innocent snake person? Didn't Sister Medusa stop him? At this moment, tears welled up in the corners of Qingli's eyes. Qingli's body was filled with snake-human blood, and deep down, she still longed for the snake-human race to befriend the human race. She didn't want to see the endless fighting between the snake-human race and the human race. Now that she heard her fellow countrymen being slaughtered by the human race, even though Qingli, a kind-hearted girl like this, was worried about the suffering of the snake-human race and said anxiously. After seeing Qingli's worried expression, Li Gu thought to himself. There's a door, let me add some firewood for you. Li Gu's voice trembled as he said. Xiaoyan, while Medusa was crossing the tribulation, slaughtered most of the snake people. Later, Xiaoyan found the place where Medusa was crossing the tribulation, and while Medusa was crossing the tribulation, he attacked from behind, causing Medusa to be seriously injured and flee in a hurry. Even the tribulation was forced to stop. Later, when Medusa passed by the desert city, she felt the blood in your body. Medusa couldn't bear to see any snake people being bullied by humans again, so she risked being discovered by Xiaoyan and found you in the desert city. At that time, she didn't take you with her because her injuries were too severe to be able to make it on her way, so I had to let Medusa come here. Just now, I continued to interrupt the crossing for Medusa next door. Medusa's injuries were too severe, which is why she has become what she is now. It's all me, Sister Medusa has become what she is now. It's all my fault, it's me who has dragged down Sister Medusa. After listening to Li Bang's words, Qingli now seemed to have been crying with tears of self-blame, and the pear blossoms dripped with rain as she said. Qingli, I hope you won't tell Xiaoyan about me and Medusa, okay? I want to be by Medusa's side. Li Stick said with a sincere expression. Qingga, don't worry, I won't let Xiaoyan find you. I didn't expect Xiaoyan to be such a villain. He slaughtered innocent people of the Snake Clan and even took advantage of Sister Medusa's raid. I hate Xiaoyan so much, he's such a big villain. Qingli angrily rebuked. Upon hearing this, Li Stick smiled with relief and said. What a good child. Now, I cannot be exposed to the world. As soon as I appear, it will inevitably cause many bad people like Xiaoyan, so Medusa and I can only rely on you. Brother Qing, don't worry, I will definitely protect you and Sister Medusa from being hurt again. But what should I do? Halfway through Qingli's words, she immediately thought to herself. How can I protect Sister Medusa and Brother Qing from such a humble state? Li Bang was filled with joy in his heart. He didn't expect that he still had the talent for storytelling. In just a few words, he reversed his current passive situation. Soon, when Li Bang heard Qingli's words, he gently said. This is easy to handle. I am possessed within you, take Medusa with you, let's leave this place first. After hearing Li Bang's words, Qingli immediately made a decision. The core fire of Qinglian Earth penetrated through the small green scales around Qingli and entered Qingli's body. The seven-colored little snake, transformed by Medusa, had no aversion to Qingli. On the contrary, it also liked Qingli very much. The seven-colored little snake circled around Qingli and finally wrapped around her neck. After the colorful snake wrapped around Qingli's neck, a very cool feeling was felt. In an instant, Qingli felt it and looked down at the colorful snake that Medusa had transformed into. Qingli firmly said. Sister Medusa, I will definitely protect you. Subsequently, Qingli saw her body and a hint of embarrassment appeared on her face, murmuring. How can I get out now like this? Upon hearing this, Li Bang also noticed that Qingli was still naked and said in a deep voice. I have Medusa's ring here, please check if there are any clothes inside. Subsequently, a black-purple ring appeared in front of Qingli. Qingli's consciousness entered the ring and searched for it, only to find that the clothes were there, but the sizes of the clothes were not very suitable. After a while, Qingli found a black long dress of the appropriate size in the ring and wore it on her body. Subsequently, Qingli walked towards the underground passage. Li Gu quickly said. Qingli, take that double-headed fire spirit snake with you. With it, we can also travel faster and solve some unnecessary troubles with it. Well, Qingga, if you don't tell me, I still forgot. Subsequently, Qingli transmitted a message to the two-headed fire spirit snake, who obediently crawled over and carried Qingli towards the passage. The double-headed fire spirit snake is originally a 4th-level warcraft, equivalent to a human's fighting spirit-level powerhouse. Coupled with its mutated attributes, even low-level fighting king powerhouses can encounter a few moves. The presence of the double-headed fire spirit snake makes green scales much faster in speed. After a while, the green scales had already emerged from the underground passage. Immediately, Li Bang's voice rang out in Qingli's heart. Let's go to the desert city first. Upon hearing this, Qingli followed Qingga's idea and instructed the two-headed fire spirit snake to move towards the desert city. In fact, if there could be a better person, Li Gu would never want to use green scales. After green scales awakened the 3 flower eyes of the blue snake, the people of the Heavenly Snake Mansion should also be arriving soon. They were being chased by two powerful warriors behind them, and their mood was not beautiful. There's no other way, except for the green scales, there's only Haiba Dong Hai Old Man in the entire Tagore Desert. When Haiba Old Man was in the desert city before, he was already scared by Medusa and didn't know where to flee. End of this chapter.